Today let's take up the topic of debtors turnover ratio from accounting ratios. Let's first see what is the debtors turnover ratio. The debtors turnover ratio establishes the relationship between the net credit sales and the average debtors. So here we have to find out the relationship between the net credit sales and the average debtors. So you have to remember it's not the total sales, it's the credit sales only, right? Okay, so debtors turnover ratio is equal to, this formula I have written here, this is equal to net credit sales upon average debtors. So basically the debtors turnover ratio shows how quickly the debtors are converted into cash, right? So how quickly the debtors are paying cash to us, that's what we are trying to find out. A high ratio is considered better, as that means that the amount due from the debtors are collected within a short period of time. So it is always beneficial for the company if the debtors pay quickly. So if the debtors are paying after 6 months or 8 months, that is not good for the company. But if the debtors are paying within 1 month, 1.5, 2 months or even 3 months, right? So that is considered good. So a high ratio will result in quick collection of money from the debtors, right? So the aim of the firm should be to have a high debtors turnover ratio. In some of the questions, they will not be giving credit sales. If supposing they have given only total sales, nothing is mentioned about credit sales or cash sales, in that case we will take total sales only instead of credit sales, right? And same way, if no information on the opening debtors or the closing debtors is given, we will take the total debtors, right? So as of now, this is the formula, which is debtors turnover ratio is equal to the net credit sales upon average debtors. Now let's see what is net credit sales. So net credit sales is your credit sales minus the sales return, and average debtors will be opening balance of the debtors plus opening balance of the bills receivable plus closing debtors plus closing bills receivable upon 2. This will be the average debtors, right? So in case the question does not specify the credit sales or the average opening debtors or closing debtors, you will just write this ratio as put it down here, debtors turnover ratio. In that case will be just total sales upon total debtors. This we will do if all the information is not available, right? Now look at this, debt collection period or the average collection period. Now in some of the questions you will also be asked to find out the average collection period. The average collection period will be calculated by this formula, 12 upon debtors turnover ratio. Supposing it comes as 3, so that means it will be 3 months. So that means the debt collection period is 3 months. That is, the debtors, the money from the debtors are collected within a period of 3 months. Okay, so 3 months is the time period within which the debtors are paying the money. If you want to compute it in number of days, then it will be 365 upon debtors turnover ratio here, right? And that will be in number of days. Okay. Now let's look at some examples for this debtors turnover ratio. Now in this question, compute the debtors turnover ratio from the following: gross sales is given, debtors in the beginning and debtors at the end is given, and sales return is given. Now they haven't specified anything like credit sales, so we will just take the gross sales that is there in the question, right? So here this instead of writing credit sales, I will just write sales here. Sales is equal to gross sales minus sales return. So that will be 9 lakh minus 1 lakh, which will be equal to 8 lakhs. Then the average debtors, that will be equal to the opening debtors plus the closing debtors upon 2, right? So this will be equal to 83,000 plus 1,17,000 upon 2, which is 2 lakhs upon 2, which is equal to 1 lakh. Clear? So now we'll put the formula for debtors turnover ratio, which is equal to sales upon average debtors. So now we have calculated the sales and the average debtors. Sales is 8 lakhs and average debtors is 1 lakh. So 8 lakh upon 1 lakh will be 8 times. So this is the answer. The debtors turnover ratio will be equal to 8 times. Right? So in this question, instead of credit sales, they have given gross sales. So we will be taking the gross sales minus sales return. That will be your figure for total sales. Okay. Now look at this question. It says closing debtors is 1 lakh. Cash sales being 25% of credit sales. Excess of closing debtors over opening debtors are rupees 40,000. Total sales is rupees 6 lakhs. Now let's see how to do this. First of all, I say credit sales be X and cash sales is 25% of X. So that will be 25 upon 100. 25% is 25 upon 100 into X. Okay, so that is equal to 1 by 4. 25 by 100 is 1 by 4. 1 by 4 into X comes as X upon 4. Clear? Now we know that credit sales plus cash sales is equal to the total sales. So here I write X plus X upon 4. X is the credit sale, X upon 4 is the cash sales, is equal to the total sales, which is 6 lakhs. Okay. So what will this be? This will be equal to 5x upon 4 is equal to 6 lakhs. 5x upon 4 is equal to 6 lakhs. So it will be 5x is equal to 6 lakhs into 4. 6 lakhs into 4 is 24 lakhs, right? So X will be equal to 24 lakhs upon 5, which is equal to 24 lakhs upon 5 is 4,80,000. So X is equal to 4,80,000 means now we have calculated X. X is the credit sales. So credit sales is equal to 4,80,000. Okay. Now I'll come here. Now I have to calculate the average debtors. Now closing debtors have been given. closing debtors is equal to 1 lakh, it is given, and the next thing that they have given here is excess of closing debtors over the opening debtors is 40,000. That means the closing debtors is more than the opening debtors by 40,000 rupees, right? So the opening debtors will be equal to 1 lakh minus 40,000. The closing debtors are in excess by 40,000, clear? So 1 lakh minus 40,000, this will be 60,000 will be the opening debtors. So now you have the opening debtors and the closing debtors. So average debtors will be equal to 1 lakh plus 60,000 upon 2, right? So that is equal to 1,60,000 upon 2, that comes to 1,60,000 upon 2 is 80,000, clear? Okay, now average debtors have been calculated, credit sales have been calculated. Now you just have to apply the formula for the debtors turnover ratio in this, right? Okay, so let's put the formula for debtors turnover ratio. Here the debtors turnover ratio is equal to net credit sales upon average debtors. Net credit sales is 4,80,000 upon average debtors, we just now calculated as 80,000, right? So 4,80,000 upon 80,000 will be equal to 6 times. So the debtors turnover ratio in this case is 6 times, right? We'll just quickly go through this once again. First of all, I calculated the credit sales. Since credit sales is not given, cash sales being 25% of credit sales is given, and they have given total sales as 6 lakhs. So you have to take the credit sales as X, and then here we calculated the credit sales by applying this 25% of X, and here we got it as 4,80,000, right? Then closing debtors is given, so we calculated opening debtors, that is 60,000. So average debtors was calculated, this is the second step, and then finally we did this debtors turnover ratio here, and that is your net credit sales that you calculated upon the average debtors, right? So this is your final answer. That is 6 times, right? This is the final answer over here. Understood? This 6 times, this is my debtors turnover ratio, right? So with that, I come to the end of this topic on debtors turnover ratio. So we have taken up 2 examples on this. One was a simple example, and the other one, next one, is where we calculate the credit sales also, and we also calculate the opening debtors and then do the average debtors. Okay, so that with that I'll close this topic. Thank you.